Self-Adhered Modified Bitumen Team. Self-adhering membranes like WeatherWatch have been used as an ice and water barrier for over a decade, so it was a natural evolution of the technology for it to be used as a complete membrane system. General industry concerns associated with the safety of traditional hot mopped or torched installations and the ease and speed of application provided the incentive to develop this multiply system. Self-adhered modified membranes offer some unique advantages that make them an excellent choice for tile underlayment and repairs for traditional hot or torch-applied asphaltic roofing systems.
What about self-adhering modifieds?
It's clean. I mean, like really clean. You don't even have to deal with mastics, and it's, no VOCs.
Where it's ideal is flat decks, residential flat decks attached to high slope. They work. People are savvy to, homeowners are savvy to the dangers of flames, so obviously torch tile modified they're not too interested in. And on flat decks, either you have to bring in a kettle on a small 1 square setup, or a nice peel and stick modified works well.
The guy who's putting down the self-adhered system doesn't have to deal with a messier product.
If I were going to choose that particular product, I would choose to put it on something like a 2 and 12 or a 1 and 12, something a little where water is going to shed, as opposed to if I had dead level or a 1/4 inch, I would more than likely go with the cold process modified or a conventional system or even a single ply.
However, like all the technologies reviewed by the consultants, the application should be evaluated to determine if self-adhered modified systems are the best option for a specific application. When using self-adhered modified systems, the consultants identified the following problems and solutions. Number 1, base and cap sheets improperly adhered. Installing self-adhered modified bitumen to non-approved substrates like wood fiberboard, perlite, or EPS insulation will result in a faulty roof system. Check the manufacturer's recommendations for a complete list of acceptable substrates. Inadequate adhesion also results from adhering modified bitumen material to non-primed concrete decks or non-primed metal flashing. Prime the concrete or metal first with an acceptable asphalt primer, made in accordance with ASTM D41, and then install the self-adhered base sheet to the primed surface after the solvent has flashed off. Another source of adhesion problems is neglecting to roll the base sheet or the cap sheet with a heavy roller. To get proper adhesion, roll in all plies and all cap sheet seams with a steel or weighted roller. Number 2, wet, dirty, or dusty substrates or cap sheet. Trying to adhere either a base ply or cap sheet to wet, dirty, and dusty substrates and base sheets creates a vulnerable roof system. All decks, substrates, and base sheets under cap sheets must be clean and dry prior to application. Be sure all debris is removed from the area before application. Number 3, installing the cap as a 1-ply system. Installing directly over wood decks or isocyanurate insulation without a base sheet. The Care Consultants Advisory Council strongly recommends installing self-adhered modified bitumen systems only as a minimum 2-ply system for all applications. This system should consist of a base ply specifically designed for a self-adhered system and a self-adhered cap sheet membrane. Number 4, trying to adhere the self-adhered base ply to drain sump areas that are made from perlite, EPS, or wood fiberboard. Self-adhering modified bitumen sheets will not adhere to these areas without proper preparation. One method of preparing this type of substrate is to coat this area with SBS flashing grade adhesive at all drain sump areas that are made from perlite or wood fiberboard. Number 5, uneven substrates. Large gaps in isocyanurate insulation or wood, deflection in the deck, or screws and plates that are not properly seated can prevent proper adhesion. Inspect the substrate and repair any problem areas prior to installation of the membranes. Ensure that only a 1/4 inch of space is left between insulation or deck joints in the substrate, and make sure all screws are properly seated in the plates so they do not stick up and puncture the membrane. Number 6, improper sealing of side laps. Cap sheet courses can become misaligned during installation, and this misalignment can affect the sealing of critical side laps. These side laps must be aligned properly for the self-adhesive strip in the lap area to align correctly and adhere to the next course of cap sheet. Use chalk lines to make certain alignment is correct. If the courses become misaligned, cut the roll, realign, and start a new course. In cold weather, or to speed up the adhesion, seams are often heated with a torch or hot air welder, but they can be overheated, damaging the adhesive. This will prevent a good seal. When manufacturers' installation instructions permit heating the laps, remember, it is important to use the proper amount of heat in seam areas. Number 7, not allowing cap sheet to relax. If the cap sheet is installed before it has had time to relax, it can curl. The solution is to cut the cap sheets to manageable lengths and set them aside for a minimum 15 minutes to relax prior to being installed. Number 8, removing both release liner sheets at the same time. Although it may seem a shortcut, it is a mistake to remove the release liner by unrolling both pieces of the release film at the same time. Pulling both pieces of film while walking backwards greatly increases the danger of an accident and makes proper alignment impossible. The proper installation procedure is to leave the film on and align the cap sheet. Then flop the first half of the cap sheet back and remove the film from the exposed half. Next, flop the unadhered half back over and adhere it. Next, lift back the other half and peel off the release film. After you make sure the substrate is clean, flop the remaining half over and adhere it. Number 9, sheet adheres to itself. The base sheet or cap adheres to itself during application, either from the wind or a mistake. If the membrane adheres to itself, the adhesive can be damaged when the sheets are separated. This can lead to poor adhesion. The solution is to control the membranes during installation, keep track of strong winds, and if there are strong winds, cut the membranes into shorter lengths that are more manageable. If the sheet does adhere to itself, be sure to cut out and dispose of that portion of the sheet. Number 10, improper installation of end laps. End laps must be staggered and not allowed to line up. They should be staggered with a minimum of 3 feet between successive cap sheet courses. If the corners of the top membrane at the end lap are left square, it creates a possible channel for water to get under the lap. By cutting a 45-degree angle at the corner of the top ply, the angle moves the water away from the lap. Always cut a 45-degree angle on the end lap. Number 11, failure to backnail the cap sheet. Not backnailing the cap sheet 18 inches on center when the slope is higher than 3/4 in 12 may result in membrane slippage. To prevent slippage and to achieve better adhesion, always backnail on slopes 3/4 or higher. Some manufacturers recommend backnailing at lower slopes. Number 12, no adhesives at flashing areas. Because many flashing details result in self-adhered modifieds being adhered to a granule surface, care must be taken so that a watertight lap is formed.